Our Nate Burleson is with us right now. Nate, when you see Kendrick Sampson's video, how does that make you feel? What comes up?
Um, Angry. And I'm angry because there's peaceful protesters that are out there with a purpose, and it seems like there's agitators, agents of chaos, whether they come from the men and women that are in uniform or individuals that are put in place to disrupt what we're trying to do, which is we're trying to make a point, and we can be peaceful and protest and still make our point loudly. But as soon as violence erupts, oftentimes I think the finger is pointed at the individuals that are protesting, which isn't always the case.
I'm trying to figure out who these people are that are distracting from the original message. Because, is it that 40 million people are out of work and we're looting because we don't have money and people have been fired and, they're trying to grab stuff? Is that part of it? Is it, we've been locked in our houses, and then all of a sudden, is it just a lot of emotion, a lot of things happening at once, which caused dysregulation? I can't figure it out.
I can't say for certain that that isn't the case, but I do feel like for years, for decades, for as long as I can remember, when it comes to protesting, there are people put in place to disrupt what the protest is actually there for. You have to understand, if people don't agree with the protest, then they can go out there and cause as much chaos. I mean, I've seen video after video of individuals breaking hammers through windows and throwing bricks and attacking officers that have nothing to do with the point we're trying to make, which is let's fix police brutality. So for me, the frustration lies when people say, well, if you're complaining about police brutality, then why are you out there causing chaos? Why are the people out there destroying their city? Just like my friend who's an officer can say, Nate, there's a distinction between the good officers and the bad officers. Just like my friend who is Caucasian can say, Nate, there's a distinction between white people and white people with bad intentions. And I can say, honestly, I understand you and I believe you because I know that to be true. I feel like there needs to be a distinction between the peaceful protesters and the ones that are out there causing chaos that have nothing to do with what we're marching for, what we're talking for, what we're fighting for. Because what I love about nowadays is that these cameras are out and we're catching these agents of chaos. We're catching these people that will literally look in the camera and flick you off. And we know that you're not with us. We know that you're not for the same fight, which I just don't how evil do you have to be to try to undermine something that we're trying to do to cause change? We're trying to cause change for the better. And you're sitting here trying to figure out ways to disrupt that. It blows my mind.
One of your great buddies in your community is a cop. You have sons.
Yeah.
You have sons. What kind of conversations have you had with them, the boys and your friend?
Well, I just talked to who's an officer in Bergen County out here in New Jersey. His name is Sean Bland. And we were actually talking yesterday. And I said I wanted to put together a sit down where we can bring people from different races, backgrounds, cultures, religion. We can bring all ages, those that are 60, those that are 16. And let's openly talk about how we can bridge the relationship. Because right now there's a disconnect. We talked about this, Billy. We talked about it on camera. We talked about it text message. There used to be a time where a police officer, a patrol car would pull up on the scene and there was a sense of peace that would come over the people that were there. It's like, oh man, superheroes are here. Everything's going to be okay. I feel like now there isn't that. There's almost the opposite where you don't know what that officer's intentions are. I feel like there's three individuals that can show up to a scene, three different types of officers. There's one that's there to save the day. And I feel like there's more individuals that have that compassion for the people than we are talking about. So let me highlight those and say thank you and I appreciate you for protecting and servicing us the right way. But when it comes to the other two type of officers, I feel like there's officers that have hate in their heart and have fear in their heart. And if that's the case, people that have power, that have a gun, if you have hate or fear in your heart, it's going to end up bad. The situation is going to end up bad, like we've seen time and time again. Unarmed people that look like me, lying dead in the street, lying dead in their homes, lying dead in their bed when things could have been avoided. So what I want to do is instead of sitting here and tweeting about it and us doing video after video, which I appreciate extra for giving us the platform. I want to start to get people together. I want to reshift the narrative. One, I want to highlight those that are doing their job correctly, but two, I want young men and women to see an officer and feel that peace that we used to, and have that appreciation for those that are actually out there risking their lives to protect and serve us.
If guys like you do that in every community with every police department, I think that's the way to go. It's grassroots. It's from the community, and that's the way it should be. If it is engaged all over the country in that type of format, that's extremely positive. I can't see how that wouldn't have an effect.
Yeah, and listen, grassroots is a perfect word to use when it comes to systemically thinking back on how policing originally was intended for. I feel like we do need to go to the grassroots of how these guys are prepared, how they're placed into communities, how they are reevaluated after a handful of years. I feel like we need to go to the grassroots. We need to, figure out the foundation. When things fall apart on a football team or a show, a network, you find what's wrong with the foundation, and then you fix the foundation.
Yeah.
We're talking about all this surface level stuff that we're not addressing what is really at hand, which is, I think there are grassroots issues within every police force that can be addressed.
Yeah. It occurred to me this morning that this original video of George Floyd can be used in training at all police departments. I think if you keep this video and you show it to cops that are coming in and you say, well, what do you think? Or you watch their reaction. How does that make you feel when you look at something like that? If some of them are like, well, he was doing this or he was doing that, if they don't see anything other than total and complete horror, like, and your breath is taken away, that's not your person.
Billy, perfectly said. Think about this. With the multiple camera angles, the videos that we've seen from the streets, you see him arrested sitting up against a wall.
That's it.
That's before.
That was over. It was over then.
At that point, if you're showing this video as a method of understanding how to de-escalate a situation, I think every single officer should deep down inside honestly say he should have been arrested quietly. He should have been arrested peacefully. He should have been alive the next morning. And if they don't say that, then there lies the problem.
Tapping out. When you see something horrible like that video, you want to tap out and say, hey, it's not me. I'm not a racist. I wasn't around in slavery. We're talking about. I'm just I got black friends. I got that. You got a million things, a way to tap out. And this violence and this other shenanigans is the easy exit to tap out.
Hey, listen, and black people do it too, Billy.
Sure.
Like, you have to think about all of the African-American players that are playing in all of these different professional sports, that have all the money in the world, that have set themselves up to live a different lifestyle that they were raised. They're sitting in the suburbs. They watch this on the news. They send out a tweet. They call their homeboy, and they're just like, and listen, I'm talking about myself. I'm looking at my own reflection in this Zoom call, because there's times where I'm sitting back in my house in the suburbs and I'm like, man, let me send out a good tweet. Let me say something on the show. But what am I really doing though? Am I using my platform for good, or am I using my social media to highlight how many shoes I have in my closet? Like, I think at some point we have to understand that we have a job to do. We are obligated. We are obligated at this point, because when a kid looks at LeBron James and he sends out a tweet, that same kid is going to grow up wanting to be like LeBron James on and off the court. I think my proudest moments are when a young man or a young woman, they come up to me and they talk to me about the things that I do when it comes to social issues. I can care less about how many points I made for you when I was on your fantasy team back in 2009. That life is old. That Nate is old. I don't live in that joy. I don't appreciate that. I'd rather you come up to me and tell me about the work I'm doing in the community, because the fruit that I bear doing that is going to last longer than the highlights. There's always going to be another wide receiver that is going to literally wipe out my memory as a player. Sure, I did some good things on the football field, but the game is meant to be forgotten. The players are meant to be forgotten. What we can't forget are the injustices that are going on. So these athletes that aren't saying anything, they're just as cowardly.
Yeah.
I'm fine with saying that.
So whoever you are and whatever your situation is, don't tap out. I mean, this is the moment not to tap out. We always tap out. For sure. Nate, thank you, my friend. It's so good talking to you, as always.
Appreciate you.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.